How we doing, everybody? Okay, we're gonna get started today with some hip opening work. We're gonna be on the table if we need to be. The elevated surface is just gonna make it a little easier to move that leg and hip around. As we do this, you're going to be starting with, if you can, both legs straight out in front of you. And you're gonna move your heel in towards your table. And then you're gonna bring it up. And you're gonna do a little knee shift out and then a knee shift in. And then you're gonna put it back down and slide it out. And so again, we're gonna go in, up, out, in, and then back down and then back in. Now, I'm getting a little abdominal work here. If I want to take some of that off, I can bend the other knee while I do this hip opening movement. So I'm gonna do the other side. I'm gonna bring the heel in. I'm gonna bring the knee up, out, in, back down, and out. Okay, and so that's what you're gonna be doing for a minute. And so as we're doing this, we are doing a minute each side. From the floor, you could prep yourself up a little higher if you had some, like a couple books, but you definitely wanna be working with a neutral back here. And you're gonna be moving the heel in towards the hip as much as you can, and then bringing it out, and then bringing it in. And so I wanna hover the foot, if I can, during that out-in sequence. A minute on each side. We're gonna go ahead and start in 3, 2, 1, go. So we're gonna bring the heel in, out, inside, back out, and kind of take a deep breath. Bring the heel in, out, inside. I have absolutely no internal rotation right now. Take a deep breath as you're doing this. Really trying to feel that hip rotate as much as it can. Mine feels pretty locked up right now. We're at 30 seconds. Okay, that's the last one. Go ahead and take a second and like shake it out a wee bit before we start the other one. Deep breath. All right, we're gonna go ahead and restart. 3, 2, 1, go on the other side. Heel comes in, out, in, back out. In through the nose, out through the mouth. We're at 30 seconds. Couple more. Last one. Ooh, hello. Okay. We're going to do planking exercise now. And so if you're up on your elevated surface, we're going to be doing this for 30 seconds on each side. I'm going to come at it from this way. When you're in this plank, your goal will be to put a hand behind your head and pulse here. So what I want you to do is go to your kitchen counter or somewhere elevated and make sure you can do that without any pain in your shoulder. You can also go from behind the head to back down, behind the head, back down, instead of pulsing back and forth, okay? We're gonna do 30 seconds on each side on this. So if you're doing this on the floor, you're in your hollow position. And 3, 2, 1, go. Don't have to turn your heels in the back. Deep breath. We're going to go ahead and take a little rest, and we're going to go on to the other side here in a second. Okay, we got 3, 2, 1, and other side. And rest. All right, deep breath. Kind of roll your head around a little bit, nice and gentle. Working through some of that tight tissue. We are going to match our erectors now. So our erectors are the muscles going up and down the length of the spine. So from my tailbone to the shoulder blades, or basically to the neckline, that's where your erectors are going to travel, and they're going to travel right on the sides of your spine. So when you guys are mashing, what we're going to do is we're going to start right here at the top of the lumbar. Okay, so the lower lumbar area, right before it starts to come out like outward, almost like you're hunched. So right in that little bowl area, you're going to put your ball, or you're going to put your, if you're using a roller, you have to do it at an angle. So the roller has to be done, where are my rollers? A roller is going to have to go lengthwise on you. So in order to get this, you're going to have to get your roller right here, because if you push the roller into this soft part of your spine with it teed off like this, you are going to compress the vertebrae there. You don't want to hinge back on the roller. You want to push into the tissue along the side. So again, if you're on a roller, you need to come at it from, kind of put the bottom of the roller at that area that you want to start. And I'm just going to roll around on this side of my back on the floor. Hopefully, if you have 2 tennis balls, you can tape them together. Again, also just using one ball on one side at a time. You can get against the wall to do this. Just like that way you can apply your own pressure. When I'm on the floor and I'm working through this, so right now I'm in that very top part of my lumbar. And what I am thinking about is not letting my belly really pop up. I don't want to feel my spine move that much further away from the floor. I want to keep it close to the floor. And actually, as I try to bring my spine closer to the floor, I start to feel more pressure on the roller. And at this point, I'm going to start to move around the muscle that I'm attached to with the ball. And I'm going to take a deep breath. And this goes, based on your level of intensity. So I can lift my hips up. I can start moving my legs around, kind of altering where my hips go. And that changes. I can feel the muscle tissue underneath the ball. I'm going to start another second here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of inch up a little bit. So I'm going up towards the shoulder blades. I'm going to again put pressure. Make sure that you're not on the spine. You are on the sides of the spine. This is important. It's not meant to be on the very middle part of your spine. And again, you're just lifting legs, moving hips, taking deep breaths, letting your hips sink. So as I bring my hips down, I can feel more pressure, and I can tell that this is something that I need. I'm going to move again. Just working through this area here. Some of you guys might feel some really nasty spots. Some of you might feel some popping and crackling. That's just your spine kind of loosening up under this pressure. So we've been at this for about 2 minutes now, which if you're on one ball, go ahead and switch sides. Hopefully you've just traveled up the one side. If you're on a double ball, you're just continuing to do what I'm doing and going up through the spine. This is great for kids, even like the really little ones. Get them a tennis ball and they love to roll around with you. This loosens up a lot of their vertebrae in their spine, which gets compacted because of all the sitting we do nowadays. Okay, another 15 seconds and we're going to come out of this. All right, good stuff. So now what we're going to do is a sumo stance twist with a Samson stretch in there. So the way this is going to look is I'm going to start in my wide stance. I'm going to make sure that my toes are pointed forward during this time. As I'm doing this wide stance, I want to be wider than what I probably feel is more natural. I want to feel like that stretch a little bit in the inside line of my legs as I hold this stance. So we're going to do a bow where we're going to bring our hands to center and we're going to look up in one direction at the ceiling. We're going to come back to center. We're going to stand, and then what we're going to do is we're going to rotate, and we're going to just reach up and do a Samson. And that was the way we looked. Okay, so now I'm going to rotate back again. When I bow, we make sure that we're just bowing through the hammy. I don't want your back to round. Reach down, look up on the opposite side. Come back to center. Stand, rotate the other way. You can use something to hold on to, and then reach up, and let's even lean away from the back leg. And then we're going to come back to center, and we're going to do it again. So that was 2 of our 10. Looking up at the ceiling, back to center, rotate, reach up, and lean away. Again, use your wall, use your chair. Make sure that heel is nice and high in the back. Rotate again. Back is straight. You should feel a cereal bowl in your spine. You should feel your hamstrings really taut as you're in that position. Reach up and lean across. That's 4. Keep going. Just feeling all those muscles that are tightened up. This is 6. We got 8. 9. 10. Okay, guys, so we are now going to do side lunge holds, and we're going to be holding a lateral extension, meaning our arms are going to be out here. The purpose of this is a couple things. One, I want your rotator cuff engaged. So if I keep your hand out here and you have to hold like you have something in it, like a platter, what it's going to do is so we're looking at a nice locked out arm. If you cannot lock your arm out here, let's go down a little further. Let's get to your locked out position and go up as high as you can before it stops. I don't want you here and bending this arm because we lose a lot of the purpose of this. I'm putting more of the load now on the bicep, far less load in the lat and the rhomboid and the trap. And so we want to engage that whole muscle, that whole tissue area. We're going to be doing a hold, so we got a minute on each side. So for my scaled down individuals, what I would rather is just side lunges on one side and just going on in and out of it. So you're going to get wide. You can do one hand and one hand holding something. You're going to come into your side lunge, and then you're going to come back up, and then you're going to do that same side and come back up, and you're going to do that for a minute duration. Toes are pointed forward. Okay, we're thinking about not so wide that my knee stays inside my toe line. I want to see that knee be able to go out, so I need to be in just a little bit more. Okay, for the rest of you, you're going to hold. If you have knee problems, you need to do the scale down version. You need to go down to your level where you feel no pain and you feel nice and engaged, and then come back up and restart again and see if you can buy yourself some depth. Worst case scenario, stop the video, pause the video, mash the quad, and then jump back in with us. That will make a huge difference. All right, here we go. For a minute, which I need my clock here. Reset. 3, 2, 1, go. Really trying to keep those palms out like a platter. Some of you, this is going to be really difficult, like myself. It pitches me really far forward. We're at 30 seconds. $15. Oh, rest. Come out of that, walk around a little bit, shake those legs out a tiny bit. Sinking into that adductor, I felt that pretty significantly in that inside track. Okay, we're gonna start this next side here in 10 seconds. So take another shake, take a deep breath, reposition yourself. And 3, 2, 1, go. Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. $20 seconds. 3, 2, 1, rest. Okay, walk that out. We are going to mash those now. And a couple ways of doing this. If you're on your elevated surface and don't want to go to the ground, I can take my leg and kind of bring it up, and I can start working into this inside tissue here. I could even use my fingers. That adductor muscle is so sensitive. So even a little pressure with the thumbs, you could use your knuckles, okay? You can use a rolling pin, get a little creative. I'm gonna get on the ground and pressurize to the ground. Now, in order to do this, you need to spread your adductor open. Like if you're on the ground trying to get into this. Otherwise, you're not gonna feel as much. So when I hit this, I'm gonna separate. So if I'm here and kind of lined up here, my adductor is exposed, but it's not stretched. But the second I bring my leg away from my other leg and kind of open myself up, now all of a sudden I can like put more pressure on more of the tissue because it's stretched out a little bit. So now I'm gonna make sure I'm bending and extending my leg. And I wanna put my weight on this thing. And I'm just gonna keep working through that. And you're kind of driving your leg in. You could definitely take some kind of stick or broomstick handle, PVC pipe, and put it on top of this roller, and then drive your thigh into that, and that will just tear you up. But it'll definitely get into that spot. So I can feel it now. I finally got a nice sensitive spot here, and I'm just going to keep moving through it. About 10 more seconds, and we'll switch sides. Woo, it's sensitive by the knee. Did all those squats today, not all those, 100 squats today. But the legs definitely felt it. Okay, let's switch sides. About 30 more seconds. All right, guys, we're going into pulse squats now. For my individuals who are doing the scale, you have a couple options here. You could hit just a normal squat and just go into a regular stance and squat and come back up instead of pulsing. I don't want that amount of tension accumulating down the bottom if you have back issues or chronic knee pain. I would prefer it if you guys go down in your squat, come back up, and you're gonna do that for 40. The other option would be to try a feet together pulse squat. Now you are gonna feel this in your quads if you let your knees come forward more. But if I keep my hips back and pulse, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna load this and not this here. And we're keeping the back straight. That's super important. If we pulse squat and we do this the whole time, what am I pulsing? I'm pulsing in my spine right now. So that's not gonna be good. So what we want is we wanna make sure that the back is neutral. So my back is nice and straight. My feet are together. Whenever I pulse, I'm hipping back, kind of keeping those shins vertical. From that forward position, it looks like me here, bringing my knees out, and we're getting that lateral work there. All right, for the rest of you, we're gonna pulse in your depth here. So we're gonna go depth to 90, and we're gonna do that for 40. So stand up if you need to rest, you probably will, and we're keeping the toes pointed straight. So I definitely have a tendency to go wider. My ankles, I've noticed, are tight, and so a wider position allows me to go in depth. So I'm going to choose something kind of in between, and I'm going to hit mine, and I'm going to work to get further down in my squat as I do this, but not with the lack of engagement. All right, here we go, guys. We're going to do 40, but you can cut it to 20 or 30 if you're scaling. All right. Take a deep breath. If you are not done, you can pause the video and finish up. Otherwise, we're going to move on to these dips. So we have 40 of these dips here. If you're doing this as a scaled, your dip is just going to be a reverse plank lift. So what you're going to do is you're going to get your hands here, your feet out, and you're going to lift and come back down, and lift and come back down. And so these are hitting your triceps with a really intense shortening phase, and that's what we're trying to do, is create some stability through that. If it goes into a bend, you're most likely going to feel some shoulder pain if your range of motion is pretty limited and you're restricted. So you can still hit those triceps with that push off the reverse plank. You're going to do that for 40, where you come up and down. You can also go into a bent knee, and our dip here just kind of looks like a table position. And now I'm going to come down and come back up, and come down and come back up. And my goal will be to get my full range of motion, meaning my shoulder breaks below my elbow line. It looked like my floor was coming up a little bit. I think I can reach it just barely. And then for my RXers, we're just going to leave the feet out, like right in front of us, long. So as you go down, same situation, down, up. Okay, so we've got 40 of those. Scale the number if you need to. Take breaks if you need to, for sure. Dips are definitely going to be your harder one. And go ahead and begin when you're ready. I'm halfway there. Ten more. Okay, 40 dips, and now we're going to go into wide push-ups. If you are doing wide push-ups and this hurts you at all, we really want to make sure that we're doing it to an appropriate elevation. I, at one point, could do regular push-ups with a kind of pressing position in my hands, but if I went really wide, I would get a lot of joint pain through the front of my shoulder. So what I would do is I would obviously loosen it up and release the tissue, but then I'd also elevate my push-up. And I'd elevate it to where I felt the work, but not the pain. So it was a pretty high elevation for a while. but then I was able to finally go down. We're gonna go ahead and start our 40 wide push-ups. When you do these wide push-ups, about right here. So it doesn't need to be like perfect. About right outside the shoulders is our press. And then we're gonna go maybe what? Another 3 inches out for our wide. As you guys are doing this, make sure that your bellies don't drop towards the floor and you keep those bellies tight and prevent gravity from yanking on your spine. Go ahead and start when you're ready. Ten more. Finally, okay. Definitely need to master pecs after that. So obviously triceps worked, but pecs are very much a part of dips and push-ups. So we're gonna get on our chest. If you need to do this against the door frame, put your object and just lean in and start raising your hand up in the air. So I'm gonna move it around until I find what I'm looking for. And every time, I'm gonna go all the way up with my hand. So I want my arms to be at full extension during phases of this. Another reason why laying down is convenient. Laying down, I now have my trunk weight is pushing into the roller and my arm is forced into an extension phase because I am laying it out in front of me. So it kind of makes it a tiny bit easier if your muscles are really tired, and mine are. So again, taking deep breaths, working through that muscle tissue, moving the arm around. Ooh, that right pec though. Okay, take a deep breath, come to the other side. Same thing. Get yourself into that sensitive muscle and start pushing. Okay, guys. Now that we've hit both pecs, we're going to do a downward dog to spinal roll, and a little different than a yoga roll. A spinal roll is just like a jump roping spinal position, and we're doing that in the table position. So if we're elevated, you guys are going to hit your downward dog by coming hips back behind the heel line, kind of letting your arms extend onto your table, your back straighten, bend your knees, and feel your hammies stretch. And then you're going to come into your table. So we're going to walk the feet in. You're going to go into a spinal roll on both sides. So then I'll walk the feet out a little, hit back. I'll come back into my table position and roll my spine. Once, twice. Okay, and we're going to do that for 6. If you're on the ground, we're going to do this in our downward dog. So get up in your downward dog. Go ahead and come back. If you're really tight, you can bend your knees a little bit. Come knees down. And then I want you to give me one jump rope to one side. And then one jump rope to the other side. And back to neutral. And then bring your knees off the ground and hit back. Downward dog. Knees back on the ground, table position. Go ahead and give me a spinal circle. Pull one to one side. Pull one to the other. Bring the knees back up, downward dog. Really try to get the cereal bowl in your spine. Knees back down to your table. And spinal jump rope one direction and the other. Knees back up. I believe this is number 4. Knees down, table, roll. Back to downward dog. Back to knees down, table, roll the spine. Last one, downward dog. And back to table, round the spine. Okay, good, and rest. We've got an 18-minute workout today. We've got lunges, planking sit-outs. You know, sometimes we're really bad about naming or the name of these things, but it is where you are doing the kind of wrestler sit-out, and you're gonna do that and extend out. So if anybody wants to message me, be like, Nikki, come on now, it's called blah, blah, blah. Let me know. But that's what the planking sit-out is. And then we're going to be doing a piping towel slide. On the floor, I don't have my towel today, but I have my socks on. So I'm going to use my feet to slide in towards my inchworm pipe. Real quick, I'm going to go through the scaled work on this. So your lunges. What I want you guys to do is I want you guys to work your quad and your hammy full on. And although step backs are great because they start to create stability in the hip, and we want to practice this, this isn't going to give us the ability to load the quad and the hammy and then come back up. So we're gonna do the high knee to heel lift. So it's gonna be high knee, heel lift, high knee, heel lift. And for those of you who are doing that as a scaled, do all 12 of yours before you switch to the other side. When you do this, your knee is going up as high as it possibly can without letting the back round, and your heel is lifting without the knee coming forward. If you let your knee come forward, you're not going to feel this the same. You're not going to get the hammy shortening phase that we're looking for. So remember, check the mirror, figure out what's going on with your body, make sure you're doing it. So that's going to be your scale for your lunges. You're going to do planking. The sit-outs are going to be a internal leg lift, basically, for my scale position. And we did these the other day. you're gonna be in table position and you're gonna lift your leg and move it outward. And then back in your table position, and again, out, back in your table, out, back in your table. So what we're gonna do there is we're gonna work this inside track and we're gonna work these obliques. And these are the control factor here each time you do one side. And that's what we want, because in your sit out, that's what you're gonna be doing too, but you're just gonna be putting a far more amount of weight on your body when you go to do it. So that's your scale to do. I know it may not seem like a lot, but you have an AMRAP to do. That means if you get your 24 done, 12 on each side, and you get your rounds done real fast, you're just going into more rounds. So you're gonna get your work. You're just not gonna get the pain and the inflammation and the negativity, and that's what we're looking for. And then the planking towel slides. For you guys out there who are not doing towel slides, you guys are just going to do a walk in and a walk out. Walk in and a walk out. Now, because of what we're trying to mimic, we are going to be keeping on our tip toes and rounding. So it's going to be you in a hollow and then you walking up into more of a hollow and then you coming back out and then resetting your hollow, never finding yourself sagging down. Okay, so I go back in and what I feel is I feel like a lot of abdominal like contraction because I'm trying to tuck my belly up really high. And we're not trying to round the spine because the gravity is pulling at my spine right now. We aren't. Gravity is pulling on my spine here. But what we're going to do is we're going to use the abdominals to avoid it. So in this position, when we're doing a deadlift, if we use the abdominals to avoid it, we're still going to end up loading the trunk with whatever we lift. That's the difference here. So if you're doing it on the ground, your piping towel slides just look like that. And you're going into where you can, flex your body. The amount of bend that you can create with your range of motion is where you're headed. Hands should stay firmly placed on the ground. Hands should be pointed forward. If you have your hands that turn out, you're going to get some a uneven stress in the wrist joint. So a lot of people don't realize that. They turn out their hands because it's easier, because it doesn't hurt as bad. But the thing is, I'm overloading and underloading areas here when I can go neutral and I can create a whole chain of engagement. 18 minutes, as many rounds as you can do. We got this. It's going to be great. Okay. Get your water. Get your music. Get your headspace. Let's do this thing. Okay, lunges. I've noticed I'm definitely not centering myself as much, so I'm gonna try to work on that today. You're trying to get that shin nice and vertical and your trunk tall. All right, 3, 2, 1, go. Socks are getting all weird. Yep. $540. That's what we've done. That's what it is. All right, we have about 12 minutes. Awesome. 2 minutes. A minute and a half. One minute. $45. $30. 20. 15 seconds. 2 seconds. Rest. Okay. Deep breath. Everybody is done. I'm sweating. Okay. Right now, shoulders, psoas, abductors. These are areas that are going to be probably lit up. We're thinking about our cool down, thinking about that body settling into a more natural state. Thinking about breathing in through our nose and not through our mouth. So initially, as I was breathing, it was hard to steady my inhale and exhale, but about 3 to 4 more breaths in, I was able to calm that down and steady it and get a little bit deeper breaths and longer pushes out. You are working through opening the chest. That's another important thing to think about. Our chest and our diaphragm and our rib cage is burning down a lot. We kind of hunch forward, our head goes forward. We close up our shoulders because we're cold or we're snuggling or we're trying to be comfortable. And all of that starts to compact on the chest and the lungs. And so allowing your body this time to rest and to really push into the chest wall and use your breath to expand your trunk and your abdomen, specifically in your chest cavity. All right, guys, so now that we're done, if you have anything that you need to mash or stretch, this is the time to do it. You can mash and stretch at any time, but when you are warmed up, you're gonna get maybe even a little bit more out of that. I always end up mashing before my workout. So, some people are like, well, what's better? Is it better to mash before or is it better to mash after? Well, let me ask you, is it better to brush your teeth in the morning or at night? Now, at night, obviously, we ate and stuff all day, but in the morning, we just got up and our mouth has been open and it's been exposed to the air quality and things like that. And so brushing your teeth in the morning, I think is beneficial as well. Plus it stimulates the gums. Mashing before your workout, it takes away discomfort and possibly pain, and it opens you up to better movement, to more efficient movement, more engaged movement. So there's a lot of reasons to mash before your workout, but just know mashing after your workout it's extra credit. Okay, you guys have a great day. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.